right, here it is, the video review for the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Throne of the Primes Optimal Optimus, who has ascended to become the new, according to his bio card, which has, the back of the box has the same art on it. It's really nice art. He's a Matrix of Leader, but chooses Optimus Primal to be its next bearer with the increased strength and wisdom bestowed upon him by the Matrix. Optimus Primal evolves to Optimal Optimus and leads Cybertron into a new era. But obviously Optimal Optimus is the orange one, but that's the story here. Now, I think that happened in the Machinima series, but I did not watch that because you know why. Anyway, so he comes with a bio card. All the bio on the back of all of them is the same. They didn't make, he has the little symbol for the 13th there on his card. He does not come with 12 different variations of his bio card, which honestly I think is probably a good idea because, God, I can only imagine how nuts it would have gotten if he was an exclusive and they randomized his card. And it's kind of cool that he's ascended and he's the new Prime. He won the fan vote poll, was it last year, the year before? But anyway, here he is, and it's just the Optimal Optimus toy molded in Season 1, like classic Primal colors, the black and gray and white and red, and it looks really good. I mean, one, because of the differences, like one, you can see the differences here on his gorilla body. Here is the original Optimal Optimus, smaller figure. Here's the one that comes with the Comic-Con exclusive. I'm over here by the gorilla, so it's easier to tell. So the gray, it's not, instead of silver, it's that kind of muted gray. Same on the hips. You can see they picked out some detail versus just spraying the whole crotch piece. The plastic is a little grayer versus silvery on the original, with the same white thighs and everything. You'll also notice back here that his backpack, his darker helmet for his combined mode blends in a little better to the backpack, and the backpack itself, aside from the cockpit, is darker. It's all in the same black plastic, and then the cockpit itself is, again, less silvery and metallic and more of a muted gray with some red detailing on it. He also comes with a Matrix that has a reddish spark crystal in the middle of it. And I was curious about that, why they went with that color, and it actually makes sense here in a bit. But essentially, like, physically, they're the same figures, just with some different colors on them. This is the biggest difference here. Obviously the gorilla is, you can tell what's obvious. These are painted in similar styles, but you can see that there are some differences here on the smaller figure. Also, the guns. Here are the original Optimal Optimus's small guns. You can see they're just one solid gray, kind of silvery gray plastic piece, whereas the Comic-Con ones are molded in black with some silver paint as well as some silver Maximal faction logo stickers on the tip, which were not present on the original guns. We won't dwell too much on the transformation since it is exactly the same. You can see here he is. We'll just give him a turn around. Here he is without the backpack. And he can convert to form the backpack for the gorilla. So we'll go ahead and fold him up. I did put the pin back in my original smaller Optimus figure. Just because, you can separate it and you can still do all the modes. But it was just easier to keep track of all together. So we'll flip him up. We'll plug this in. There's his hoverboard mode, which will show off. Actually, we'll go ahead and do that now. You can plug him on. He's got the same pegs in the feet, so he can peg onto the hoverboard, both on the front and back, and ride it like a surfing monkey, just like the original Optimal Optimus mold did. And then here's the hoverboard. The guns, again, still store on his legs. Everything is exactly the same. So you can plug those in right there if you want to store them here in gorilla mode. Then you take this, you just fold down the cockpit part here, which will slide into the slots on his back. And then, now mine, you have to move these up a little bit. When it gets to this point, mine does not lock in here in gorilla mode nearly as well as my original Optimal Optimus did. It stays on, but you can see it doesn't click or latch into place like the original did. I'm having some trouble getting it to stay flat against his back. It still stays on okay, but it's just a little problematic. And I'm kind of seeing that in a few places on this guy. And it seems too early for it to be mold degradation. But you can put the guns on in their longer extended positions if you really want to smokestack it up. But I like to plug them in down here. There we go. At least that's together now. Although again, you can see it does not latch very well. Maybe something I can fix. Maybe I need to file something down. But you can give him the smaller guns, and then you've got a bulkier gorilla, a more armored gorilla, although he does have to lean forward a little bit due to the backpack kind of interfering with his legs. You can take this, bring the guns to the front, and fold this down. We'll set this off to the side for a minute. This will be his jet mode configuration. He has the jet mode. We'll go ahead and show that off. Bring the arms out. And again, you can kind of Superman him if you want. Just fins around. And then attach again here, as well as you want to get these down so these can tab into the back part of it. Let me tab this in right here. And again, this is where it gets a little problematic because of those tabs not really wanting to hold. And then you want to get the foot tabs in. Yeah, there's 1 and 2, and then you tab this together here, and then bring the cockpit down and around into the jet, and there is his. Man, he does not want to stay together. Yeah, we'll have to fix that. There may be some flash or something on these tabs that's keeping him from tabbing together. Oh, come on. It's not a mode I use that often anyway, but still, I'd like it to work. But there's his jet mode. In all black and gray. It looks okay. And then we'll go ahead and finish transforming him all the way to Super Robot mode. Snap it up. His leg ratchets seem to be tougher than they did on the original mold. Everything else is a little looser. Rotate his waist around, bring his arms down, bring the thumb around, rotate the fist, do whatever you want with the fins. I like to just fold them back and down, but it's entirely up to you. Bring them down a little bit. So there's the core body, and we transform this again just like we did before. Take the guns off, flip up his combined mode head, which this is the other joint that likes to stick. It's a little harder to get him flipped up than it was on the original Optimal Optimus, and you can see he's just got the standard primal colors on the Optimal Optimus head. And we'll tab this from here, put this forward. Come on, there we go. And snap this on to the top of the body here. Come on, where are you? There we go. Oh, no. There we go. Just wasn't clicking it down properly. Snap his body onto the back. And then fold this up to form his chest. And there he is in his combine. Like I said, his feet and knees are loose. I'm going to have to tighten some screws or floor polish some stuff. Which is a shame. It's too early for mold degradation on this guy, I think. But, yeah, there we go. And there he is in his giant robot mode. And again, just a comparison with his, again, that's the previous Optimus Primal small robot there, but just to give you an idea of what they look like. He does have the guns, which again, you can store on his legs. You can combine to form a larger rifle for him that he doesn't really hold all that well. You have to plug it into like his thumb over here, which looks a little odd. Oh, or you can plug them in to his chest here. If you lower this down just a smidge, you can actually plug them in right up here. You can pull these down and plug them into the front, but I think they look better plugged in over the shoulders like that. So, and again, it turns out to be a really decent deco on this mold with the original colors. They work really well on it, and I love Optimal Optimus. I love the orange and the way they went with him, but it's really striking in this mold. And now you see why they went with that red matrix symbol, because it kind of gives him the red detailing on his chest along with the stripes up here. And just for comparison, here he is with the Toon Colors Masterpiece Optimus Primal. Just to give you an idea of his size and all that stuff. And here he is side by side with his original version of his mold. So that now makes, I mentioned on Twitter earlier, it's like Hasbro got their Oprah on. They went to all the leaders in the Power of the Prime design and went, you get a black repaint and you get a black repaint. Although Primal here is the only one who actually had a heroic black repaint, because we had Rodimus Unicronus and Nemesis Prime for the other two. But yeah, they look great on a shelf together. And if they were just, even if it were just stock, this is a nice looking figure. I really like. I love Optimal Optimus. The Season 1 colors, I think, look really great on this mold. Like, better than I would have expected if somebody just said, oh, they're going to do Season 1, the black and gray on the Optimal Optimus mold. But it works really well. Now we get to the fun and sadly exclusive part, it seems, part of the accessories here for him. So here's his instruction manual. I meant to mention this earlier, but and it's actually printed nicely. It's still the gray scale instructions, but it's actually bright and clear. Like they tweaked something, so hooray for them on making it visible. And then you get the, here's a breakdown of all the different primes, as well as the halo of primes here, which we'll get to in a minute. Now, we got 8 of them as pretenders. I would have loved to have gotten the rest also as pretenders. I think there's a couple more pretender shells I would like to see. But as it is, I think Prima comes with, here's Prima Prime, which I still think they should have just called her Prima and left it at that. I think Prima Prime is a little redundant. But with the silvery face there, we got Nexus Prime, who's a really cool, like, orangey yellow symbol in a chromy copper body. We've got Amalgamus Prime, again, a brighter yellow symbol on, I don't know what color I'd call that, pyrite colored body. And then we have the new, heretofore unannounced, it kind of looks like Emirate Zeron, the 13th, and his symbol is actually really nice, just that kind of star symbolizing the 13th, and he looks really good, I think, in Primal's Matrix up here. But yeah, so the last 3, these guys, so far the only way we know how to get them is in this set. Now, Prima Prime does have like a clear ice blue version that comes with one of the 3 Amazon exclusive figures. I can't remember if it's Repugnus or Counterpunch or Blastoff. I think Blastoff comes with, I take it back, Blastoff comes with the translucent red Megatronus. So it has to be, and I think Blastoff comes with a repaint too. So I think the clear Prima comes with Counterpunch, but don't quote me on that. I'm almost positive that's the case though. So she'll be available somewhere else. These three, it's up in the air right now. Now they may announce something, and hopefully they do announce something soon on where we can get these last few figures. I would love to see, at the very least, even if you don't do the 13th, make him exclusive to this. I would like for these three to get Pretender shells at some point. But who knows? I know they have a mold for Wave Rider because they were going to do them with Grand Maximus, and then they didn't get enough pre-orders, so they didn't do it. But there is a mold for the Wave Rider Pretender shell. I can't imagine they're not going to get that out somehow. So those are the four new not Pretenders, Prime Masters we get with Primal Prime here, or Throne of the Primes. And because he has now ascended through the leadership, he gets his ceremonial mace here to wreck bad guys with. He also gets this cool little helmet / crown that you can put. You can put it on original Optimal Optimus as well. It just fits over his head. You can't transform him with it on, obviously, because it's too much bulk. But so he gets this. He also comes with, as the set is named, the Throne of the Primes. And that is, I'm pulling it up here with the full insert. This is if you pull it straight out of the package. It looks like this, and it's the full throne here with the jungly background. Now, if you cut it, these plastic strips here, and then pull off the tape, you can fold these tabs in, and then there's some tabs on the bottom that flip around. If you just cut the tape and then just fold them under the throne, you can remove the backdrop and have just the throne itself. And the throne itself, Primal comes seated on it, and you can reseat him on it. I think you might be able to remove this clear plastic up here. You'd have to kind of get in there and cut it out, and still have him be able to sit on here, because it's just cardboard. It looks a little... The black plastic doesn't look horrible. The clear plastic up here looks a little janky, but, you know, it's up to you. The plastic back here it's the same kind of just standard plastic shell packaging material. We'll get to the wheel here in a minute. It also has some pictures of Thunderwing and this guy and Hound and Star Saber, people who lost the fan vote poll, almost kind of rubbing salt in the wound for anybody who wanted those guys to win. And then there's Megatron and Ultra Magnus up here, and it looks like RC back here and Shockwave back here. So there's some pictures there on the back, as well as the Maximal symbol up here behind it. And the halo of Primus is this wheel behind it. Basically, it gives him access to the powers of all the primes. A couple of slots are missing. We're going to go ahead and fill those in with, let's see, Amalgamus there's symbols behind them, so you know you're putting the right one in. Although, technically, you can just stick them in any order. So we'll put Amalgamus there, and it clicks. It didn't click, but it has notches as you rotate it. There's Nexus Prime slot. So we'll go ahead and plug Nexus Prime in there. And then we'll come around here to where Prima's slot is. Plug Prima in. And now, aside from the 13th, there's slots for all 12 of the previous primes here on the back. And you can just, like you see, Prima, Alchemist, Quintus, Amalgamus, Nexus, Solus Prime, Onyx, Liege Maximo, Micronus, Alpha Trion, Megatronus, Vector Prime, and now we're back to the top again. So all 12 of them fit in that halo. And it's a neat little display. You can just kind of rotate through all the powers here and the various little faces if you want to have them all in there. And then again, you can put him in Primal's chest, and he's got all 13 of the primes. The other thing you can use them for, and I'm going to go ahead and pop out the 4 that came with it, although you can use any of them. It can be a little tricky to get these guys out of here without pushing from the back. You can kind of do it. I wouldn't do that often, because you kind of have to get behind there and get them out. If you can get them out without having to reach behind here, because this is just plastic on cardboard, and you could very easily rip that away. So we'll get the other 3 out. Let's go ahead and sit Primal on the throne here, if we can do it. And again, it's easy enough to do. This is how he comes packaged. You can move the shoulder armor. He actually comes with his shoulder armor up on his upper arms. And you can do that as well. So there's Primal sitting on his throne. wielding his mace as the new ruler of Cybertron. And his mace has the bonus feature now of you can extend this, pull his bottom piece down like this. Okay, that's as far as it goes. Like that. And up to 4 Prime Masters can go on there. So I don't know if he's just wielding the power of all 4 of them at once in the mace. It's kind of like the planetary key. But you kind of have to, it helps, you kind of have to bend them in half, but I found it helps if you like take the head and snap it up into the slot first. Like that. And then you can kind of bend them in half. Or flick them out. Maybe you want to bend them in half first, I don't know. But bend them at this hinge, at their waist hinges. Plug the head up into the mace, and then their feet have little posts for their feet, so you kind of wiggle them in there and then snap them into place like that, and then just go around and do all 4. Like that. Amalgam is here. The Sceptre of Primes is what this is called. The Sceptre of Sparks is what this is called. It's the Halo of Primus, the Throne of the Primes, the Sceptre of Sparks, the Monkey of Awesomeness. It really, they're really big on naming things like Asgardian relics. But yeah, so there's the fully powered Sceptre using the 4 exclusive Prime Masters that come in the set. And he can wield that as well. Although I have found, like, this finger, like some of the other stuff was loose, this set of fingers is a little loose. So in some poses, he has less of the handle to grip. And it's a little wider up here. Versus when you have this up, there's kind of a nice notch for his hand to grab it. And when you're grabbing it down here, it gets a little loose in his hand if you don't have it just right. Like you see, like there's his fingers are not really holding it well. This hand's a little tighter and it still has issues, but you can get him to kind of grip it a little better. You can see holding it up like that, like his big turkey leg at Thanksgiving dinner. So yeah, all in all, like I said, it's a neat set. It was, it seemed to be, from what I saw, fairly plentiful. Like you had to wait in line to get it, but I don't think they sold out. It seemed like people who wanted to get it, if they were willing to wait in the line, were able to get one. So I know that all the exclusives are going up on Hasbro Toy Shop. I think on August 13th is the day. That sounds right. So hopefully that means that anybody who wants to get one without overpaying on eBay will be able to do so on August 13th. Keep your browsers open and ready to go on the 13th when those go live. But I'm hoping that it won't just be a... Like, it's not like the Magic card set, which is going to go in like a minute and a half, if that. Hopefully he'll stay around for, I don't know, at least an hour or 2 on Hasbro Toy Shop, so everybody who wants to get one has at least a semi-decent shot at getting one. He is cool. Like I said, I like the Optimal Optimus mold. He's not the best use of the gimmick, but he really shines in these Comic-Con colors. The Throne's okay. The Throne itself is okay. I really like the Halo of Primus and the implementation of that as a way to just store all of your Prime Sparkmaster guys. Even though, like, I do prefer the Pretender shells. These are guys. Now that I've done the review, these guys are probably all going to go back in their Pretender shells, I guess, except for Onyx, who's going to go in his giant Pretender shell, which is Predaking. And I guess these 4 will just live in the mace. Although, like I said, it's a neat display piece. I wish they had done something to make it a little sturdier as cardboard, because it can get a little back heavy. You can see from the side, like this piece, it kind of wobbles a little bit. This clear plastic piece isn't adhered or really part of this section, and I feel like maybe it basically holds together because Primal is tied to it. He has his shoulder armor on. He's got some rubber bands around here and down around here, and he's really just kind of wedged in and tied into this thing. And that's really what kind of holds it together. Do be careful if you want to save the Throne, cutting him loose. Don't just try to rip him out, because you could seriously damage what is there. But it's a neat display piece. It's a neat little curio. I don't know that we needed to get, as much as I love this black repaint, it's a neat idea. I don't know that we needed to get this as a retail release, this color scheme. The helmet's okay. It looks a little, I think, ostentatious on Primal, but, you know, Primal just in Beast Wars never seemed like the type of guy who'd be like, I am wearing a crown now. The Sceptre of Sparks is a neat idea, and I like that it can utilize 4 different guys at once. My only real complaint about this set is that, as of right now, if you don't want like the special translucent version of Prima, this is the only way to get those last 3 or 4, depending on whether you count the 13th, since he just kind of popped up. Prime Masters is in this set, and I sincerely hope that they find a way to get us at least those last 3, Prima and Amalgamus and Nexus, as pretender shells at some point. Will they? I don't know. I know Power of the Primes is ending soon to make way for the Siege line that they put out, some of the promo shots at Comic-Con. And some of the figures look great. The Ultra Magnus is looking good. Like I'm digging some of the designs, but and we've seen things come back. You know, like we've seen, like the Combiner Wars Blast Off and the Combiner Wars Retgar that's hitting now, and they've gone back to past kind of the Combiner pegs that have run throughout this whole trilogy. It'll be neat if they manage to find a way to somewhere in the next line release those last few Pretender shells and give people an easier way to get those last few Prime Masters, especially since, like, even if you can get it, even if you want this and you can find it on Hasbro Toy Shop and it's available for a good long while, it's still like $76 for a set where maybe you're only trying to complete the collection you already started as, like, you know, $7-8 mainline figures you could pick up in Walmart, and to wallet gate, I guess, those last few guys behind an exclusive figure seems a little cruddy if they don't offer any other way to get them. But here in the set, they are really neat. Like I said, if you can get the set and you want the set, he's pretty cool. I dig the colors. I dig the whole setup. I think they've done a good job in the packaging and presentation, and even in just the basic design of the figure. I just wish they hadn't locked those last few, because admittedly my initial interest was to get this was because of those last few Prime Masters, and then they just happened to be a really nice deco to go with it. But there it is, the San Diego Comic-Con Hasbro exclusive Throne of the Primes with Optimal Optimus.